Greetings from Scouse Farm. I'm at a high point in the city, so it's going to be a bit windy. Nothing I can do about that, but I'm at what is an absolutely magnificent structure, and it's not what you're looking at now, although that is part of it, or was part of it, but you'll see it very shortly. And this is like a very serendipitous video, as if you've watched a few of the recent videos I've done, you'll have watched or maybe seen the pool noodle, which is me filming on a roundabout in Prescott to show you some of the homage to cable and watch manufacturing in that area. And when there, I did say I was going to show you another one from like a roundabout a little bit further up in St Helens, because that's also got some of those monuments. But when looking at it, I wanted to film that as well, because there's a great pub called the Wellington that looks like a castle, and there's some water towers that have been turned into houses and apartments, so I wanted to just show you them. And then when reading up about this place, it turns out it's linked to a lot of the videos I've been doing recently, because I've also filmed, I can't tease you anymore, look at that. That is something else. You're going to get a close look at it in a minute. But a few of the videos I've done are also linked in, because I filmed in Toxteth, because there's an underground reservoir there in Toxteth, and I got access to it when they were doing some refurbishment work on it, which was very lucky. It was one of my first ever videos when I started the channel as well, so I was just delighted to get inside an old Victorian reservoir and be able to show you what it looks like inside. So although you can't get access to this one, as you can tell by all the railings, I will leave a link at the end of this video to that video, and I think it's only 4 minutes long or something, so have yourselves a look at that and you'll get to see what one of these things looks like from the inside too. But just look at this structure, look at the detail that went into making these things beautiful. And it was at the time a utilitarian project just to keep water flowing into Liverpool. And when I started looking into this last night, because I only thought about it last night, I went down an absolute massive rabbit hole and found out so much about how the water gets to cities, and particularly Liverpool, which is fed, believe it or not, for those who don't know, from a lake, a man-made lake 68 miles away in Wales. Yes, they pipe it through with no pumping, no electricity. It comes all the way via gravity through pipeworks, crosses the Mersey, and then is placed in a reservoir up near Prescott, or in Prescott, near, again, that pool noodle video I filmed, and then it supplies the rest of the city of Liverpool. But this you're looking at now is a structure that was designed by Thomas Duncan, who was Liverpool's first ever water engineer. It's grade 2 listed, and the retaining wall that you'll see out the back was built in 1854, so pretty much when our soldiers were still fighting in Crimea, and unfortunately there's still fighting going on there today. What's that, 170 odd years later? And in 1857 the tower and the engine room that you're looking at now, that was built. So the wall was there to house all of the water, and then the tower and the engine room was built, and we'll go and have a little closer look at it now. And all of the masonry that you see was put together, or the contractor who was dealing with it was from Liverpool, and it was A.G. Holm. And then all of the ironwork, the cast ironwork, and the works for the tanks and the storage, that was by the Hague Foundry from Wigan. Oh, just look at the detail in this. See, it's difficult that way because the sun's over there, so you can't see very well, but we're going to get a closer look, don't worry. Incredible. And I didn't know that the big reservoir out the back, when you see these things, it's the reservoir is obviously where they store most of the water, and then this engine room type thing you're looking at now, the water would be pumped up that chimney type thing and then into the top. Oh, there, and all the treated water would then sit in that tank and then be fed by gravity straight down. And then, being a water tower, they always place these things at high points. So again, that's why it's windy, because you'll see them at high points in the city. So they use gravity to then let water find its own level, and it'll just pop down and off it goes under its own steam, all the way up, or sorry, down, all the way down through the pipework to be used by all the people in Liverpool, or it did at the time, because it's not used anymore. But the structure itself, it's 12 arches at the bottom in a rusticated brick type facade, and then above that we've got another 12 arches, and at the top you've got decorative cornice, some keystones, and then above that, if you can see, you've got the metal tank. So you've got a cast iron container at the top with all of those brackets supporting it, and look how beautiful they are. Absolutely fascinating stuff. And yet again, it's another thing I didn't know was here in my own city. I've heard someone said in a video once, go and film. It was probably in response to, or a comment under the one I did in Toxteth, but I'm just gonna let this car get out of the way. Don't want to get mown down. No matter where I go, even on quiet days, it seems to be busy. But yeah, someone left a comment, said, oh, there's a water tower in Everton, and in my mind I thought they meant that tower that is on Everton's football jersey, but that's not what it was. And then I typed in water tower, and I seen this, and I thought, that's not what I thought it was. But look at this thing, look how big it is. 150 feet apparently up to the top, when the tank is plonked on top, and the tank can hold 230,000 gallons of water that's been treated and pushed up through the engine room. And then I'll just walk you over this side, try not to get run over, but I just can't stop staring at this structure. It's phenomenal. And then I think it's 6.5 million gallons can be stored in the actual reservoir down the side. And over this side you can see you've got a retaining wall down there. I'm not going to walk you all the way down there, but that stretches all the way down there to the end and then across the back, and that's where all of the water was stored, in an open reservoir. But this is just absolutely fascinating to me. And when I dug into the history of the supply of water to Liverpool, I also found out that this was built because we were originally supplied from Rivington, which is yet again another video I want to film, because a mate in work, Caitlin, said she's been up to some parkland around that way, and she said, oh, there's a big reservoir there and it's lovely, and there's like a castle and there's good places to walk. So I had that on the list, but I didn't know it was the reservoir that used to feed Liverpool, and now pretty much supplies all of the water to Wigan and the area around Wigan. But this one, built along with the one in Toxteth and another one in Wavertree, was because if there was a drought, you would be left with maybe 4 days water supply, up to 10 days maybe if you're lucky. So they needed to build extra capacity in Liverpool as our city grew, when it became more commercial, basically, because more people moved into Liverpool due to the maritime trade, etc. Oh, typical, the wind's picking up, now it's raining and I'm standing here in a t-shirt. But just look at this building, absolutely fantastic. And not much to see around that side with all the railings, so I'll take you back around the front. And it's still owned by United Utilities, but not so much historical. But I'll just give you a few little snippets of information about its recent life. It was brought out of use, and then United Utilities were approached by a charity of some description. It doesn't say what charity, and they were going to use it for a purpose, but that deal didn't come to fruition. They didn't go forward with the project, and then it went into auction and sold for £70,000. So this grade 2 listed building, oh, forgot to tell you, it was 12th of July 1966 when it received grade 2 listed status, and it went into auction in 2019, sold for 70 grand, and plans were put forward to make it into apartments, luxury apartments with amazing views of the city. As you can imagine, if you live up the top there, it would be a great view right across over to Wales and everywhere. But that again fell apart, and it went back up into auction in 2023, but there's still no signs of it being developed. I don't know if it was bought or if any plans are being looked at now, but at the moment, as you can see, sadly nothing is happening. But I'm quite glad in a way, because I got to see it in what is pretty much its original state, which is just a incredible building. I'm just fascinated with it. And what I will do is that lake I mentioned that now supplies Liverpool with the majority of our water. I am going to go and film there, because now I've heard about it. I'm going to go down there and stay a couple of days in that area and go on a tour, learn a bit more about it, and do a couple of videos down there, because it's beautiful as well. I have looked at it, pictures of it on the map, and it is beautiful. But my thinking with this is that you've got like the Royal Institute of British Architects, you've got the Royal Society, you've got all these organisations. Why not buy this, make use of it, train up some young architects, some young British architects, and then show them what we used to do and compare that to what we now do. And you can't tell me you won't get any benefit from training people up in here. So they could use this as a case study. They could get the plans together, what we're going to be used to turn it into apartments, and maybe a community centre, maybe some office space. But there's loads of things you can do, and then employ local contractors to do the work and get them to bring apprentices in to learn the trades and the skills of what would be a conversion of something so significant into modern living. I think that would be a great idea, but unfortunately I'm not an architect, so I can't afford it as well. But that is just an amazing sight. So viewers, I'll leave it there. I'm getting wet, which is quite apt, seeing as though I'm standing next to a water tower. So thank you all very much for watching. Have yourselves a great day on Scouse Farm. We'll see you all again soon.